Welcome back to Capitol Tonight. Comptroller Susan Combs joins us now here in the studio. Good to have you back on the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
We're 13 days, I think, if I'm not miscounting, to the end of the regular session here. And first, I wanted to just get your take on at least what we do know of the potential compromise between the House and Senate on the budget, and in particular on water. And without getting into the weeds of what they're crafting, let me just ask you about the rainy day fund itself. And do you, as comptroller, see that there's a minimum amount of money that should remain in the rainy day fund?
No, and in fact, what's interesting, I asked the rating agencies in New York if it would affect our ratings if we had a particular amount of dollars, and they won't give you that number. What I do think you have to do, and I think they're trying to craft that compromise, is use some money for some very significant sort of one-time ticket items, but leave some, an amount which I think they're closing in on for prospective uses such as they may need to use when the school finance litigation finally settles out. But there is no hard number.
And in terms of however this compromise works out, you're fine with any plan, whether it goes to voters or not, because you feel like the money is there to be utilized?
I've been pretty outspoken that we absolutely need to do something for water. I've also stated that roads need to be fixed. When you lose lives in very heavily traveled areas that need to be fixed, that's really important. And for education, they're mindful of that too. But really, I think the legislature either can vote it in or they can ask the voters to take a look at it. I'm fine either way.
We had you here 3 months ago, and there were a couple of transparency bills that you were really pushing. One is still to be determined, and that is now on the Senate side of things, right? This is Senate Bill 14,
right,
and it's dealing with government spending and debt. Where do things stand with that? And just remind us, what it is that the average citizen would get out of this being passed.
What we wanted when the bill was drafted was to give you, before you go to vote, to get an understanding of what you already owe, what your obligations are, what the costs are, and what the new ones are. And we had some questions raised by cities and counties, et cetera, which I think we've all addressed. I think they're all neutral now, so that it wasn't an unreasonable burden on them. But you saw that with this weekend, with the school district debt. People want to know, before I take on more, what am I getting? We also asked for a lot of information. If you've already voted, if the voters have voted down something, do you really just get a redo at the city council level immediately? The answer to that is no. So I feel that this is a good bill. I want to say thank you to all the folks that worked so hard on it. Jim Pitts in the House and Tommy Williams in the Senate. So it is now a Senate bill coming back. It's in the House, and I've got my fingers crossed. This isn't wood, but I'm touching wood anyway, because I think we've got a good compromise bill that the voter can feel happy about, and that the government entities don't feel is too burdensome.
And there was another one that is on the way to the governor's desk. This was dealing with public pensions, and that one's good to go to the governor.
That one's House Bill 13, and that really meets a need from everybody. If you are a public employee, or if you're a family member, or if you're a taxpayer, you want to know how well funded is that pension. And I'm sure that Stockton, California and Chicago would like to have this legislation, because there was sort of a murkiness. Nobody knew. Houston is very interested in this kind of legislation, so is the city of Fort Worth. And San Antonio, by the way, does a bang-up job. Their firefighters do a great job. So this is a great bill, and I expect the governor to sign it.
I noticed, and we always want to check on our finances here with you because of the nature of your job. Sales tax revenue increased for the 36th consecutive month, I understand. But what's the trend? How do we look overall?
We were in such a deep trough. So when you fall in a trough, you come back up, and the rate it's like a rock. It's very sharp up. Well, then the bottom keeps coming up, and so the increase month over month is on a higher and higher base. And so now we're at about 3 or 4% increase month over month, but it's still very, very high. One of the areas that we're seeing good construction permits, all the housing markets way back up, oil and gas is up. Cars, which had been such a great leader, they're slowing down a little bit. Sort of a pent-up demand has been met, but we still are feeling very perky here in Texas, and it's a great place to be.
3 months ago, I also asked you, as I do the last few times that we met, that there was always the possibility that you might run for lieutenant governor. You've always answered with the answer that you're focused on what you're doing, but the session is almost over. Have you had some thoughts as to what your future might bring?
Well, I think anybody that runs for office has to consult their family. So my husband and I are going to go to the ranch in the Big Bend in about 2 weeks and have a heart-to-heart chat about what it is we want to do together, and then I will announce it right thereafter.
And so that discussion perhaps will include maybe a run for lieutenant governor.
Or Empress.
Okay, well, either way, please let us know.
Okay, absolutely.
All right, Comptroller Susan Combs, thanks very much for rejoining us here on Capitol tonight.
Thank you.
And we're back with more right after this.